You are now listening to the new Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at BringDownTheBand.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the new Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned in to the new Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. Hope everybody's having a great day. A great day is having a good evening. Rocking with the fellas as always. My man, the voice of Indianapolis is what I call him, aka Kansas City Mac. My man Jay Moore. How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. Trying to stay healthy out here. Getting my miles in, my road work. I think everybody should try to do the same. Don't come out of this this COVID worse than how you went in. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. They say on the internet. The internets, plural, they say that you approaching 10 miles, 12 miles, 14 miles, ridiculous numbers is what
I've had, I get a minimum of 5 miles actual running in a day. So
okay.
I passed you the other day, in Friday, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, how people say, because I'm in my 40s, I'm not ashamed to say it.
Grown man business.
And people start saying, oh man, my back is bad or my knees are bad. I was thinking the same thing, and I'll just be honest, I was out of shape, because my back and my knees feel fine right now. So it is what it is, man. So, and plus this COVID thing, it attacks the unhealthy. So, chill with some of that Uber Eats and get out there and put on your running shoes and get some fresh air and get a little road work in. It'll be beneficial for you.
I can dig it. My man DJ Jay Diff.
What's
happening, man?
Salutations. What's up, good sir?
Oh man, I can't complain, man. I see you with the product placement with your mug. I see you. Good product placement there.
Yeah, I got the mugs back. I'm actually gonna give away one of these. I think next week.
Okay.
Okay. I can tune in on how you can grab one. Mike, you still need to get yours too. A lot of people put on that 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐿 waiting this COVID shit.
It'll sneak up on you. 100%. It'll sneak up on you.
Sneak up on you. Remember when they had the NBA lockout and 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐿 came back like 30 pounds heavier?
Yeah, 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐿 on the Cavs was different.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was different. 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐿 on the Cavs.
Yeah, he's playing for Cleveland. Yeah, people forget about that era.
I'm talking about with the baby blue, the baby blue Cavs uniforms on. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. Yeah, he wasn't yoking on people like he was.
No, that was a different Kemp. Definitely a different Kemp, man. Running out the squad as always, my man Longevity. How are you, sir?
I am doing spectacular, Michael.
Good. I thought it was a pause in there. I said, I want to make sure you still was with us.
I am here. Good
to see you as always.
Here, likewise.
How's your week? Everything?
As I says me.
How's your week? So far, so good? It's short, but
yeah, yesterday I taught, today I taught, and here I am.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's all good.
There you go.
Clear. Lone does teach Ableton courses, the academics here in Indianapolis and Broad Ripple. So check that man out if you're in the area and you want to get some knowledge. Cyhi the Prince was in the news and for his writing, and we've all known that he's been a writer. He writes for Kanye, and writes for a lot of people actually. But for some reason, this topic came back up about artists and getting writers. But this time it was a little different. It was for Travis Scott, for Astroworld, which was an album that I actually liked. I remember we talked about that a couple of years. It's probably been 2 years now, which sounds crazy, but it was one of my favorite albums for that year. Some reference tracks leaked online for Sicko Mode, which was one of his records. That album, Coffee, and another record had Cyhi the Prince. You could hear him on the actual verses. So he's actually credited for 5 Sicko Mode, Coffee Bean, Stargazing, No Bystanders, and 5% Tint. So he was all over that thing from a writer standpoint. If I'm coming your way first, does this make Cyhi look good or Travis Scott look bad? In your opinion?
Does it make either of them look good or bad? Honestly, I don't think it goes either which way, because if you think about it, there's been writers or references on music forever. You know what I'm saying? Now people are just paying attention. Now paying attention again. I mean, back in our day, and I sound old saying it, but I mean, we got the liner notes. So if you're looking at the credits, you're seeing who helped write and
Right.
produce and do whatever. Nowadays, everything goes straight online, so you don't get to see that until here we are two years later, and it's
Right.
public knowledge unless it was a ghostwriter of some kind, which I don't believe he would be um, classified as a ghostwriter in that project. But I don't really seeing it be a negative on either side because you just never know how much input that person had. Even if he wrote the whole thing, I mean, it is what it is. He got paid. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Even producers will be listed as writers sometime, you know. So I guess my only pushback would be in terms of what you're talking about in terms of collaborators and stuff. I think the purist, quote unquote, will be looking at it from a standpoint of if anybody wrote verses. Like if you think about some of your favorite rappers, if you found out that on Reasonable Doubt, you know, somebody wrote Jay-Z's verses, I think you'd look at him a little different. No,
But we're talking about Travis Scott.
Yeah,
And
but this is
no, it's
two
not
different
Travis
types of
Scott. It's just the
artists.
concept because you referenced back in our day, so it's not Travis Scott. It's just the
Yeah.
concept of what we're talking about. Just using that as a reference
Yeah,
point.
that's true. It depends on exactly how much was written though, because like, all right, so say someone helped come up with the hook, so
Okay.
that's a good chunk of the actual sound or the actual song itself, but that's
Right.
not the majority of it. If somebody
I feel
helped
you.
write a hook, if you wrote the whole song, then okay, that's a little different. But at the same time, I mean, I get it. But the thing that kind of stands out to me in that situation, I don't know if y'all watched the Travis Scott documentary.
yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it was
One's
dope.
on
Actually.
Netflix.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dope.
So there was a lot of people that was upset because Cardi B had won Album of the Year that year, I believe.
Yeah, I remember that. We talked about that.
They're talking about how she didn't write her own rhymes or whatnot.
Right.
And he was a contender for that Album of the Year and kind of felt a certain way about it as well. So do you think he should feel that way since he pretty much did the same thing?
Good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I never thought about it like that. He was a part of it. Yeah, big part of it. Wrote 5 records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'd take that. Jump in there, Jay Moore.
Well, I think this is, you know, at this point and where hip hop is now, it's kind of a tired argument.
Okay.
Because, you know, as big as hip hop is, and now we're you know, the culture is competing on a level to where we can get those Album of the Year looks.
Right.
Like, no one has a problem with, you know, Beyonce being up for Album of the Year or hip hop, or whatever category she's in, and you look at her liner notes and there's 30 people involved in the writing process.
Right.
You know, Adele doesn't write all her records. You know, I understand in hip hop this is a thing that's always been a little bit different.
That's
But,
right. A good point.
You know, in 2020, I don't think, let's just be honest, you know, we can come from this as we are new old heads and say, well, you know, if I found out, you know, Jay or Nas had not written their records, Biggie had, it would make us feel some type of way, even though, you know people who were ghost written for. Like, you know, if you go back and really look at the liner notes of some of your favorite hip hop albums from that era, you know, it just doesn't have one person listed as the writer. And I'm not talking about, you know, because a lot of times when the people they sample from are listed as writers, I'm talking about there's 3 writers listed, you know, outside of the main artist. And, you know, a lot of that is like, hey, but we don't know how much credit they should get. They might have helped them with a line here or there, and they wanted to make sure that they got their credit. But at this point in 2020, like, I don't think anybody really cares.
That's what I was
that
going for.
Drake got a little help here, or somebody might have helped him with a line or a hook or a bridge, because the music is just like where we are is on another level. It's not like just us in a cipher or, you know, standing around on a street corner trying to get it. We're talking about billions of dollars here in chart positions that could have never been dreamed of when in the genesis of hip hop. So I are there people like, Grandmaster Melly Mel? They're gonna be mad because you didn't write all your rhymes.
Right.
But you know what? There are going to be people who will be like, I don't care. I enjoyed that thoroughly, and I got a #1 record and a platinum plaque for it. It is what it is. I gave everybody their credit, and I didn't try to short anybody.
Not mad at that.
Yep.
So Lone, do we at this point we don't care?
No,
much,
I care.
Right? It is what it is.
Absolutely.
You do care.
Yeah.
Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
I care. Well, for this particular instance, no, I don't care because I don't consider Travis Scott a rapper like that. I mean, he's a rapper.
That's a good point.
He's
That's a good point.
He's an entertainer, and he's when I saw that Cyhi was writing raps for him, I'm like, what is he writing? I mean, like, it's hooks, like, and that's not to take away from what Travis is doing. It's just like there's not a lot of like mind blowing material there. So if this was Lupe Fiasco and said all of a sudden Cyhi wrote his raps, yeah, that's a big deal. The difference is that, to Jay's point, and kind of what we've been talking about is, right, hip hop has become more mainstream the further into the future we go, and what we're talking about are pop records and pop artists. We're not talking about hip hop as much in the historical sense of everything we're talking about. So, and there have always been multiple writers in pop music. So when it comes down to emceeing and stuff like that, yeah, I still think that matters. But when we talk about writing records and songs, like the intent behind Travis Scott's records and stuff like that, I think it's written from a different angle, from a different perspective. And so I think it's fine. But I don't look at his record as like this crazy, I guess, hip hop record, to where I would get upset over it.
Yeah, it's like
kind of like that Kanye West. All the Lights has like 10 writers on it, but when you listen to the song, I mean, you can't really tell because it's not like a complex song that you think 10 people would have participated in.
Yeah, there's like 20 words in the whole song. Yeah,
right.
To Lone's point, it's like we don't look at Travis Scott as a lyricist.
Let's put R there instead of is writing credit. It's like, all right,
right. It's like we don't look at Travis Scott as a lyricist anyway. So, to Lone's point, I see exactly where he's coming from. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
I don't know if y'all remember when there was a point in time where people kept talking about how Jay-Z was stealing rhymes and taking Big's verses here and there and whatnot, but he was just pretty much borrowing lines. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was structuring his own flow around those lines. So what would you consider that?
Well, I think when you look at it from, we know how nice Jay is, or elite rapper would be. We want to use an elite rapper outside of him, just like we talk about more current. But one thing I would look at is their Biggie and Jay-Z's relationship. Just my personal opinion, knowing that they were cool. Like with him using a couple lines from Big wouldn't stand out that much to me. One, because I know how nice Jay is on his own, and their relationship. That would be the angle I would look at it if you were to ask me about that one. Just those two specifically. That's how I would look at that.
Yeah, I kind of see it the same. I mean, I think it's the intent behind it. Like it's like he's not writing it to like. It's obvious to the people that know that he's not trying to flex like this is my line. He's like it's like an obvious homage point. So I think I think it's different just because of the intent.
He said it on December 4th when he said the bar about say a big verse. I'm only bigging up my brother. I'm big enough to do it. Plus my own flow is that bar. So he basically just said what me and Lona talking about. Like I'm just showing the homie love. Don't get it twisted, y'all know I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I was just curious because that was a big deal at one point in time.
Huge.
It was remember, it was a big deal. Well, I mean, for some people, I thought it was dope when Snoop redid Lottie Dottie. I think that was probably the first quote unquote hip hop reprint ever. for him to completely redo a Slick Rick song. And the thing
Sure
is, Slick
did.
Rick loved it because, hey,
Hmm.
you know, he was locked up at the time, and like that
Yeah.
got him a nice chunk of change.
And it was, and they paid
Mhm.
homage. They paid homage to him on top of that. So if I was Slick Rick,
Yeah, I
I'd have
mean,
been
it's
like,
not
yeah,
like
that's what's
Snoop
up.
tried to act like that was his shit. You know,
Yeah.
he immediately said, "Shout out to Slick Rick." You know,
Didn't Nas do one
as soon as
too?
the song came on.
Nas did
Snoop just
something.
Snoop recently just listed Slick Rick as one of his favorite rappers. Like, so you could tell it was
Yeah.
genuine. You know, he grown, super grown now. But
I mean, that was his first album where he did
Yeah.
that, so it had to be something that stood out to him.
and I think with Cyhi, if I was to look at it, in only different way I thought about it was, you know, you hear something with this is stupid to me, but you always hear people talk about scenes and what scene does someone belong to. And I just found it funny that Cyhi the Prince, who's supposed to be a quote unquote lyricist and backpack guy, was writing hooks and parts of verses for Travis Scott. And to me, that makes him look even more versatile as a writer, in my
Right.
opinion.
For sure.
The fact that he
I
can,
mean,
You
Nas,
could,
he
you
could do
could, you
that.
could consider Cyhi Prince on both sides. He's one of the cats that might be wearing a backpack, but you don't know what's in his backpack.
That's
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I couldn't have put it any better, bro. I couldn't have put it any
First of all,
better. I feel you.
what do you think was in them backpacks the whole time? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like, but I
Fago.
never forget when Buckshot said that. Buckshot was like, everybody talk about backpacks, but we was locked and loaded in them backpacks back in the 90s.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So, and I think there's just a history of this. Like Nas wrote for he wrote for Will Smith. I mean, to the I can't remember. It was something off the Men in Black album. You know, I think it was the, you know, just cruising or whatever. But you know, like there's a history of this. You know, Jay-Z's written for Dr. Dre, and you know, he's been ghostwriting for a long time. Like and what gets people mad is when these reference tracks come out, because I remember there was about to be some violence back in the day when the somebody had leaked the reference tracks where Biggie it's the reference for Lil Kim's Queen Bitch, and it's Biggie rapping like from the perspective of a woman, and it's wild to hear. Is, you know, and I heard this after Big died, so I was just fiending for anything Notorious B.I.G., but it was just wild to hear him rapping Lil Kim's Queen Bitch.
but you know, it's just one of those things, man. And sometimes it's part of the process. But you know, I just figured it'd be cool to kind of break that one down a little bit. Not, you know, it's just one of those things that at this point, like we've all said, for the most part, it's not that much of a big deal at this point, especially in 2020. Like, whatever. Let's see. Let's go to let's go to No ID. Let's go to No ID. No ID, legendary producer from Chicago. You know, Kanye, Drake, Jay. He just executive produced Logic's final album, No Pressure. Like, No ID is a legend. Early Common work. We all know who he is. Well, if you don't, I would do your research, do your Googles. But he recently sold the rights to his entire musical catalog to a company called Hypnosis Sounds, and a massive deal that he sold 223 tracks. And
23? I thought it was 73.
73. I'm sorry. Thanks, Lone. You're right. I misread what I even got typed down. 273. The news came from Billboard, and it was reporting that they acquired the worldwide copyrights and publishing royalties to No ID songs. And I also was kind of scrubbing through the rest of the article, and it says Timbaland also made the same move earlier and did and songwriter Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics. Sorry. Jack Antonoff, another writer named Jack Antonoff did it as well, artist as well. And this is weird to me because I couldn't find anything that spoke to numbers or, I guess, logic or reasoning behind the choice. I would think it would be about a bag, but maybe that number wasn't disclosed.
And it's got to be a lot of money.
I was coming to you first, Lone. Like, what, you know, what why would this make sense? You're talking about Timbaland, somebody that has a huge catalog, especially as a producer. Like, what are we missing here? Because it can't be anything more than the bag, right? They're making it sound like it's a great partnership. But what are we missing here?
Well, that's the question that I have. What am I missing? Because, like, I didn't read the article, so I'm speaking out of ignorance right now. But my question would be, one, Is he selling his entire catalog? It's his entire catalog, all of it?
It says
that's what
it's a collection that spans from hits from Jay-Z, Dre. Let's see. His entire musical catalog. Yes. 273 songs.
One, I'm curious how that works. I guess it's just publishing on top. So I'll just tell you from my standpoint, I'm huge on ownership. So, and I'm sure that he is as well. It's got to be a lot of fucking money. Like a lot.
Right.
Like it's got to be a lot of money. That's the only way that I can think that I would sell rights to my own music. It's got to be a major bag, and because I don't see him as somebody that seems like he's struggling right now. You know, like he's continually working on stuff. Like you said, he did 444 with Jay-Z a few years ago. Yep. Now he did Under Pressure with Logic, and that's huge for the underground. So
because that was
he's not hurting.
Came out.
He's
came out.
Not hurting for money. So this has to be about blackmail or a lot of money.
Would you say loan blackmail?
It's either blackmail or a lot of money.
To me, it's bag has to be something that's like, I'm good for the rest of my life. I'm straight.
It's got to be generations. It's got to be wealth.
It's got to be generational wealth. Like, other than that, it wouldn't make sense to me. Jay Diff, what would you? Is there anything that you could think outside of bread? Like, to me, it says bread. Like, I can't think a partnership could be that beneficial for you to get 273 of my records. It got to be the bag, right? Yeah. Is there anything me and Lone missed?
Man, I don't know, because at this point it's just hypothetical as far as what we can come up with at this time.
That's fair.
I don't get it, but maybe it was like you get this big lump sum right now, and you might still own a small percentage.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Your royalties that you're still going to be able to benefit from and pass down to I don't even know if he has kids or not, but pass on to somebody,
right?
Because the goal is, once you get into the business, I thought, is to create that wealth in order to pass it down. And as a songwriter, I mean, those people behind the scenes are the ones that are making all the money.
It's passive income, man. That money's always coming in.
Yeah,
it's always coming in.
Straight passive. I mean, he's got hits on top of hits on classic tracks too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Smithsonian style tracks. So I don't know, man. It has to be some great deal to where I would think he got a big lump sum up front and still is able to keep a percentage. That's my thought process around it.
Jay Moore, I'm coming to you, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Long.
I would agree that might be. I might potentially do it if I could get a lot of money and still keep a small percentage on the back end. I might still do that. But outright selling it, man, you're. I'm trying to get in that billionaire class or something.
I heard that. I'm looking in the chat right now. David said he can't believe he sold it. He said he's securing for the future. Let's see. Here's Dirt said he did sell his portion, while the contributing artists still have a majority stakehold on them. Oh, I see what you said. You were asking the question. I got you. Like you said, it could be a percentage. It could be a small percentage that he still owns, but like Lone said, I can't empty the whole clip. Jay Moore, what do you think? What angle are you coming at it with on this one?
Well, you know what's the crazy thing I thought of is, of course, because I'm at home during the day, and I see those commercials where it's like, I got a structured settlement, but I need cash now. So
I see what you did.
Is it something like that, to where, okay, you're getting these publishing checks quarterly, but you want a big lump sum of money right now for someone to perhaps be the administrator of this music, that, you get this large amount now, they buy your catalog, but they're like, okay, maybe I can get this song in a commercial, and we'll still go ahead, and because you don't have the business savvy to particularly do that. Because it seemed like a weird thing to me, because The Dream did something similar.
Yeah.
To where, and you got to think about The Dream. He got songs on Justin Bieber and Beyonce and a lot of large radio hits. And Now, I think his number was something well into the 9 figures, or close to it. So I'm wondering exactly what it is. Like I said, I've gone through the articles. It doesn't say exactly how much No ID got, but but also when I saw this, I thought about the Beach Boys. If you know anything about the Beach Boys, at one point their father was like their manager and was over them, and like he was he lightweight hated his the Beach Boys because a couple of his kids were in the group, and at one point he sold like their songwriting for like $20 million or something, some paltry amount when you think about what it is the Beach Boys are now. Right. And like this includes pet songs and Good Vibrations and all that shit. And like that catalog is worth something like $500 million, and he sold it for like 20 million.
That's crazy.
So it always rubs me the wrong way when I hear somebody like Montel Jordan did the same thing, like sold all of his songwriting. And the thing is, he wrote for a lot of people, and they gave him basically pennies on the dollar, and somebody else is making a shit ton of money. Especially now there's this nostalgia boom for 90s music. So every time those songs play or somebody places that music, Montel Jordan's not getting the money.
Oh, you still gonna hear This Is How We Do It. I don't care where you go. You still gonna hear that.
How you really gonna hear it now?
Exactly. So, like I said, there might be a bigger play that we just don't know or don't understand, but it's hard for me to understand somebody selling their catalog in 2020, especially somebody as savvy as No ID. Like I said, if he got a big enough number, then more power to him. But at the same time, in the long run, when you're talking about generational money and making money while you're asleep, that's why you get your publishing together. That's why you make sure that you have your paperwork in order.
Well,
so
it's just like
it'll be interesting to see how this really plays out.
It's just like Long said when we brought the point about No Pressure. Like, it ain't like he's stopped producing and been out the game for 15 to 20 years. Like, fam is still No Pressure. We talked about that 2 episodes ago, if I'm not mistaken. So, it must have been
out about a month.
Yeah, it must have been a nice bag. So kudos to him. If it's smart business for him and his family, man, and generational wealth, I ain't mad at it. But shit blew me when I saw it.
I mean, Jay, you do bring up a good point about the licensing aspect of it. What if this company is a company? Because I don't know shit about this company, but what if they are offering him a small percentage on the back end, a huge lump sum, and they're like, hey, give us your category so we can shop it. That's what we do. Maybe in the long run, maybe in the long run, you could still, you got the guaranteed upfront money, you still got a guaranteed percentage. Even if it's a lot smaller on the back end, and you have a potential for new percentages on top of it. Okay. I'd have that conversation.
To me, that's best case scenario.
Right,
where,
for sure.
You get a nice lump sum of money, and the people that you sold your publishing to, like, you still are able to get some back end money if they're able to place these records and help you, administrate some of this stuff.
Yeah. And you guys are bringing up, you guys both have actually brought up something that I didn't even think about. Both of you guys, when you started talking about the, a smaller percentage versus the entire thing. It's just when you see the word entire in an article, to me, that's alarming. It's like, dang, and
and you also have to realize that it's probably already a small percentage on a lot of this stuff anyways, because that the thing that makes that specific that scenario less likely is the fact that he doesn't 100% own the rights to all the music that he's a part of. So realistically, that's probably not true because Logic didn't share
a lot of those beats that he made. Then you're talking about you got to look at the splits.
Yeah, but even more so, like Logic, like you can't just shop Logic songs simply because you gave up your rights. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I'd be curious to talk to somebody who has more insight on this subject, but not me unless you come with that money.
Hey, one thing I
don't know about y'all, but every once in a while, when I see a commercial and it has a certain song in it, it kind of upsets me a little bit. I don't know why. Like if it's a certain,
when I heard a Michael Jackson song in an Amazon commercial, Yeah.
I feel you. Well, let's go ahead and shout out our partners real quick while we have a chance. Let's take a break and shout them out, and we'll go get into our last topic.
All right.
We'd like to thank our partners for the New Old Heads podcast: No Bad Ideas Clothing Company, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, Sun King Brewery, and the hub for all things New Old Heads, bringingdowntheband.com. Remember, once you type Bringing Down the Band in the search bar on YouTube and the page populates, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And as always, we thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
All right. We are back.
All right. Appreciate you there,
good.
brother. All right. So again, let's shout out to the chat. We really appreciate y'all. Y'all are really live tonight. Whoever stayed and stayed over, we appreciate you. Naughty Pie's in the building. Looks like David's still here. See, here's Dirk still here. We appreciate y'all if y'all are in here. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for engaging with us. We really appreciate that. Let's go to this last topic here that I had. And this was on rollingstone.com, and it was in reference to 3 music industry trends quarantine that they felt would last. But the article was a good read. I kind of went through it and tried to pick some, decent speaking points for us, some stuff that we could talk about and maybe dissect, because we've analyzed a lot of trends and things that we've thought would happen or would stay, some that would sustain and some that will fall off. We've been talking about that since we pretty much got into the bunkers, but it was kind of interesting to me to see someone else, look into some of the stuff that we had talked about and get 3 things that they think would stay. So I went through the article and got the 3 things and got a few speaking pieces on it. The first one was artists breaking the shackles of social media and asking their fans to pony up. They used a reference. They said Cardi B announced that on Instagram that she launched a $4.99 subscription to OnlyFans. Y'all know we talked about OnlyFans before. And they said it's a platform best known for helping sex workers, Jay Moore, just in case you didn't know that, offer exclusive online
I had no idea.
offer exclusive online content to paying members of the public. Yeah. So they said they think that will be one trend that's going to stick in terms of artists starting to open up more platforms where they have direct to consumer, subscriptions, if you will. The second one was live streaming becoming a big and highly competitive business, and they used Versus as a reference. There was also a deal from a online company called Caffeine, which I wasn't aware of, that signed Drake to a multi-year deal for an ultimate rap league on its platform. So I didn't even know that was back in February. So I guess that's something that was being developed prior to all the COVID and everything. But Drake was supposed to have a part in developing a rap league that was going to be streamed with a company called Caffeine. And it says the third one was the rise of indies, like independents, and the revival of D2C, which is direct-to-consumer physical sales. They used Taylor Swift as an example. On her most recent album, I believe she sold 627,000 actual direct-to-consumer sales. Now, that's bundling. That's, hell, they do merch and shit now at this point, but she actually sold 627,000 units hand-to-hand. So if you guys look at it from, the standpoint of the list that they have the social media, ponying up to pay for subscription, live streaming, and then the bundles for hand-to-hand consumption for the consumer. Do we think these will stick, or is there any possible holes in any of the ones that were listed? Lone, I'm going to come to you first. Do you think they got it right when they said all 3 of these will stick post-COVID? I can go through the list again if you need me to.
You said live streaming, essentially direct to consumer, and what was the thing about the social media again?
The social media one was kind of like the OnlyFans example, like the subscription type,
like
things,
Patreon stuff.
Yeah, Patreon.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pushed it more to the forefront. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that even we've witnessed is the live aspect, and the importance for. Just the importance. One thing that I've liked so much about us coming over to Twitch and doing our show live as opposed to, you know, sitting in a studio and doing it is the fact that we can directly talk to everybody that's in the chat right now. You know what I mean? And before and after, and we have like direct conversation. And I think that's extremely important, and it's really easy to just not do that. You know, especially based on old models where it was just like, appear like you're really hard to get in contact with. You know, that was the old model from years past. But now
I remember that era.
Now what's dope is that, like, you know, like, screw all that. Like, we can actually talk to the people in real time. You know, we can create our own Discord chat or our Slack chat or whatever, and we can communicate with people outside of just Twitter, you know, and we can create a community within that. So not only are the people that like the stuff that we're talking about, not only can we talk to them, those people can talk to each other. So it just builds its own community within itself, which I think is really dope. I think we were getting there anyways. I think what this has done is just kind of pushed us there a lot quicker. You know, we've obviously been on Patreon since we've been started here. And we've seen that grow as well. So, you know, again, OnlyFans has been around for a while. It's not just for sex work, but it's been around for a long time. But we're seeing it grow right now just because of the necessity. So, I do think they got it right. Those are definitely three huge things that I think are going to continue to grow. And I think regardless of, what the future kind of holds as far as media in the near future, I think the live streaming aspect, it'll probably grow even beyond what we see it as right now. And I don't know what that looks like. But imagine going to some people have done this. Imagine going to a party, you know, imagine going to Take That Tuesdays, right? With Jay and Nick. Imagine it's completely live streamed, you know what I mean? But not on Twitch. And for people that are a fan of the show or fan of the party that live in Colorado or New York or whatever, or wherever, you know, they can engage in that in real time as that's broadcasting itself. I think that is realistically the future, is to be able to kind of create the in-person and online presence as one synonymous thing. So we'll see. Okay. I mean, that's just my mind taking it there, but I feel like it's coming. So it's a long answer. But
that's good material right there. Jay Diff, what do you think, man? Do you kind of echo those sentiments? Do you think maybe one will fall off or a couple will stay? I can go back over it again if you need me to.
No, I think he pretty much hit the nail on the head with his response. But these things have been going on with COVID. What it did is make people get into that place where they have to use these different avenues in order to be seen or be heard. So it's giving people a little time to actually educate themselves on what to do or whatnot. But like Pimp C said a long time ago, pimping ain't dead, it just moved to the web. So it's just on a whole nother level. It doesn't even have to be necessarily like on an OnlyFans thing all the time, or whatever kind of subscription you pay for. But I mean, it's the truth. And he said that a long time ago. He's been dead for how long?
Man.
Well, like 06, 07? Yeah. So I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. I mean, what's the name? Had a song called Computer Love in the 80s. These are all things that were set up to happen regardless, you know what I'm saying? But I think they pretty much got it right, and Lone hit the nail on the head with his answer.
Jay Moore, did we miss anything, or you pretty much echo the sentiments of what Lone said? I think he pretty much got it.
No, I mean, look, I look at it like this, you know, say whenever Nick and I are able to get back to coaches and we're not having to do this thing virtually, we'd be fools not to figure out a way to broadcast live from coaches, because we've gained, I don't want to make it seem like we're large like that, but we've gained a nationwide audience. We've gained people who are loyal Take That Tuesday fans who've never been to coaches. So for sure, just because the this whole pandemic is over, we don't want to abandon those people. So, you know, it's something we've talked about. I think as technology and as internet speeds grow fast, you know, the whole direct to consumer thing at one point, it just seemed like it wasn't something you could actually do, you know, because say you wanted to have a direct to consumer situation, like you'd have to set up a mailbox and then you'd have to start sending out videotapes or CDs or DVDs. Now, all you got to do is have a decent internet connection. And when I say decent, you know, you don't even have to have the top tier. You know, you just got to be able to have a stable internet connection, and you can
not like what we have tonight.
Yeah, not like Jay, not like Jay Diff internet connection. Yeah,
you know, but you the one that shows up with
the one who
1G
has the worst internet connection of us all.
First of all, Lone is the one with the twist tie, but y'all find a way to play me somehow. That's odd. Lone has a twist tie, but y'all swear
you don't want to pay for that good internet.
I feel you. Go ahead, Jay Moore.
AOL. You still using AOL dial-up CDs.
Jay Moore, go ahead with your point, brother. Jay Moore, go ahead with your point, brother. It's cool.
Got them zip install discs.
This is the best time to be an artist. It's still it's a terrible time to be own a record company, you know, because quite honestly, like when I see certain people and they be like, oh, they got a record company deal, I'm thinking, oh, I hope they got a whole lot of money, because of right now the direct to consumer, like if I know Drake's, I'm not sure if it's this album or next album, you know, it's about to be a wrap on his original record contract. If I was him, I wouldn't sign with anybody. I'd be like, come to Drake.com and get this music. You know what I'm saying? Because if the people who love Drake, and it's a lot of them, they don't care if he's signed to Universal. The Universal machine can only do so much for him. He's made enough money to where whatever they were going to do, he can do for himself. You know, right. And if you, like, I would say there's almost no reason to have an A&R anymore. A&Rs are just people who sit and look at YouTube all day and see, okay, what kid has come up with some new dance, and how can we pimp him to where we can make this single real hot, and then once it's done, we can throw it away.
The A&R position the A&R position is dead, brother.
You're not like it used to be a time where you'd be like, I see
maybe
somebody
you should call it something else. Maybe it should be called something else, because I do think certain people curating artists and putting certain artists to the forefront for people to hear is essential. I don't think that's going anywhere.
The classical
idea. The part where you're trying to get them to sign a record deal, yeah, I can agree with that. But I think people that are putting artists to the forefront for them to be heard is absolutely necessary.
I mean, you're obviously talking with two people that have been doing that for like the last decade. So
that's facts. That's facts. I mean, it's, to me, you can tell that there's no A&R anymore just by listening to these people, these artists. I ain't gonna say people. These artists get interviewed. Like, you can tell some of these artists get interviewed.
That means there's no artist development. That's not A&R. That's mean there's no artist development.
I guess I usually lump them all in, but I feel your point. To your point,
that's not the same, sir.
I usually lump them all in, but you're right. But
yeah, I mean, when I started No Cosign Records, I wanted to do artist development. That was one of the things that I really wanted to do, for the simple fact that nobody was doing that anymore. It's just like, find somebody that's already doing great and then like push them. But to Jay's point,
right?
Like, there's no reason, like, that is no longer a crutch that you can have. Like, as an artist, like, if you need to get better at these things, then you just need to get better at those things. You can't depend on like having talent, you know, and then all of a sudden somebody be like, hey, you're talented, let me show you how to do these 90 things. Like, no, like, you have to figure all that shit out. And I think that's kind of I think it's always been like that, at least for the last handful of years. I think it's just getting more so. I think this has just thrusted everything to the forefront. So I think it was trending that way anyways, I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean, like, the OnlyFans wasn't set up initially just for, for you to see a little bit more of your favorite Instagram model.
Right.
You know, it was set up for something, but, you know, and that's what it is. And hey, shout out to the women who are getting that money.
Get that
You're not
paper,
getting my $4.99 or $29.99 or whatever.
Regular people on there. It's regular chicks on there busting dope and taking on
Yeah,
$30,000 a month.
How much
yeah,
they
there was
bid?
That's
one.
crazy.
There
About
was one chick.
30,000.
She had
How
a
much do you pay for your
5-day.
OnlyFans every month, Mike?
Probably about
What's
17,
your
50.
OnlyFans bill every month?
About 17, between 17 and $20. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's a week.
I do mine for like mine is for like Bible scriptures and stuff like that. It's people that be on there reading them. That's what I do mine
So
for.
they be
Sounds boring.
butt naked reading the Bible.
I ain't say that, man. Go ahead, Jay Moore.
Look,
Butt naked
all I
Bible
know
reading.
is like if Cardi B is a platinum artist,
Shout out to Butt
and
Naked
say
Bible.
she can get $300,000 people to throw her $4.99 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just to like you talking about real money. And
Real
like
money.
Cardi B has a much bigger base than that because it just came out today that WAP is going to be the #1 song in the country when the next Billboard comes out.
No doubt about it.
After only being out for like after a week. So she has enough of a push and an influence to where that $4.99 multiplied by how many hundreds of thousands of people, that's big money.
That's a new
what-
maxi single. Money going directly to her.
Exactly.
What's she gonna do? Jay Moore, what's she
direct
gonna do on
model.
there though? That's my question.
Look, even if she's just talking shit or or interviewing somebody or like she's got a live performance from the house, it doesn't matter. There are people who are such fans of her. I mean, just imagine if OnlyFans was out during the late 80s, early 90s, and they could have and the New Kids on the Block could have gotten $4.95 or $5 from every teenage girl in America. They would have never had
that. Think about what the internet would have did to us if it was out when we was in school.
Oh my God, man. Yeah. That's a good point.
Not even the people,
like
not even the people, the famous people, but what it would have did to us.
Had an OnlyFans where you could get exclusive tracks or a live performance.
Why Tupac had to have an OnlyFans stuff?
No, I mean, like once again,
why you put Pac out there like that, man.
I'm not. It could be Pac. It could be any entertainer who was big. Like
that's the reason why I took that picture of him in the bath with them gold.
The same way I put New
Kids
Kids on the Block out there. The same way I put New Kids on the Block out there. I put whoever was hottest at the time. And if you wanted that quote unquote exclusive content, and you only have to pay $5 to get it, and there's millions of people who would be willing to pay an extra $5 on. If you were paying $26 for a CD, $5 for some exclusive content.
I'll pay that because I'm the one. I'm the one trying to go get it when it's on sale that first week. I ain't dropping that damn near $30.
So what did you do, Rob? You robbed people that went out and bought it? How'd you listen to it?
Yeah.
What, did you not just listen to what I said?
Say it again. My fault, brother. Say it again.
I said I was buying it the first day it came out, or that first week of sales, where it didn't cost $30.
When did it not? I bought it the first week it came out. It was $26.99. What are you talking about?
You probably went to the mall.
I don't know what record store you was going to, because I paid like $19 for mine.
Okay, you might be right. We getting old. You might be right. Okay, that's a good point. But
you don't know when to let it go.
I feel you, man.
We haven't reached our hour yet.
Pull your pants up.
But
I thought we was getting close. We went on about.
We got a few minutes.
Okay, I apologize. I thought we was getting close.
We are getting close, but the Jam Master Jay thing. What's the deal on that?
I mean, what did y'all think about that new Nas track? What did y'all think about the new Nas track?
Hold on, I heard two things. I think Lone said Jam Master Jay.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
what you said, Lone?
I mean, it's whatever. I didn't hear the Nas track, but I don't know anything about anything. So.
Well, they said they found the two kill. I guess they. Jay Moore, was it made arrests? Is that what it was? Did I read that right? For the two people that were
basically they indicted because one of the guys is already in prison.
Okay.
And they made an arrest on the other one. And what's really sick is one of the guys who was arrested has all these Jam Master Jay tributes on his Instagram page.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, like it's a sick world, man. Like, damn, you didn't even what did he even have to die for? Like it probably was over something petty or stupid, and that's what most of this shit is over. It's not even
that's
over
what the youth
anything.
is. You know, these great artists, or it's tragedies that happen. Is 9.5 times out of 10, it's gonna be on some stupid shit, jealous shit, something corny, man. And
they're trying to say it was about some weight, but I mean, whether or not he was involved with that, regardless, like you stated, I mean, this is Jam Master Jay. This is if you're building the hip hop Mount Rushmore, Run DMC goes on that monument. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he has a different, and should be approached as a different type of individual. But that just goes on to show you that people don't care who you are out here.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. I mean, like, because when you it's just sad because there are a lot of people where if they would because they want to be about their communities, they want to be about, like, for all the wild stuff that Boosie says, he says a lot of, he said it was very real. He said a lot of rappers get killed in their own hometowns.
He was 100% right.
That was part of the reason too. We haven't talked about the Master P documentary, but there was an episode on there where they're going in about the whole C Murder trial and how C Murder actually still had a house in 𝐀𝐿𝐲 projects when he was a millionaire. So he had his house on the outskirts and still had this apartment in 𝐀𝐿𝐲 projects where he would go out and go back home and hang out with the people in the hood. And essentially, that's what got him caught up. Even though he didn't do it, but he's serving that sentence right now.
Well, this is the crazy thing when a lot of people don't realize this, and I just found this out maybe about a year or so ago because they changed the law in New Orleans. I'm not sure if this was a Louisiana thing. In most other places outside of Oregon, because Oregon still has this law, you need to be convicted unanimously to be sent away to prison. Well,
the laws are crazy.
In New Orleans at the time, you didn't need a majority. You just needed 10 of the
10.
12 jurors.
There was 2 people that didn't think he should have been found guilty. So 10 people said he should have. 2 didn't.
When you do a deeper dive, the reason why in New Orleans you can convict somebody with only 10 jurors, 10 out of 12, is because when it was considered unconstitutional to keep black people off the juries, they said, okay, well, since we're really just trying to railroad a lot of black people into the prison system, what we'll do is we'll let at least 2 people be on the jury. So it was set up to where 10 white people could still send a black person to jail, even if there were 2 black people on the jury who were paying attention and said this person doesn't deserve to go. Like that's that. And the thing is that law was just taken off the books maybe about a year and a half ago. So it really is basically a Jim Crow law that why C Murder is in jail right now. He's not supposed to be there. I mean, it's messed up. It really is messed up.
Matter of fact, they've recently looks like Kim Kardashian actually signed on to try to help get him out. Kim Kardashian and Monica.
And listen, I'm actually
trying to get him out.
I'm probably a hater. People can call me a hater, and that's fine. But Kim Kardashian is not freeing these motherfuckers from jail. There's 2
not by herself.
Lawyers.
It's just a face.
There's 2 African American young ladies that are lawyers that's behind her that's doing that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
like
she's just a face. So yeah,
but if she's going to lend her,
it brings more light to it. That's all it is.
Yeah, if she's going to lend her voice and her name to that, and it might help some of these wrongly convicted black people get out of jail, more power to her. Like she's doing more than a punk ass husband. So I mean, I really appreciate I appreciate that.
That's fair. All right, I think that'll
we can end on that note.
You're doing more. Look, I'm gonna take it back to when Kirby
definitely want to square with him.
Kirby on what was it? Dead Presidents. You got more heart than your punk ass old man.
That's y'all punk ass friend. That's y'all motherfucking punk ass friend.
Yes, sir. All right, man. That's gonna do it for this episode. We appreciate everyone that is stuck with us in the chat. Stick with us for the post show as always. Rock with us. We're gonna talk a little trash after show. If you have any questions, throw those in the chat as always. And remember, like we said earlier, make sure you subscribe to Bringing Down the Band YouTube page. Hit the bell for notifications. And that new Amazon Prime situation. If you are a Prime member, make sure you go to Twitch Prime and you get a subscription on our Discord for free. Is that correct, Long? Did I say that right?
I think so.
All right, man. Well, we're going to do it for this episode. We appreciate the support as always, and we will see y'all next week. Peace.
Yep.
Peace.